Good morning and welcome back. We're going to work on lesson 7.3. There's going to be two parts. Just so you know, there's going to be two videos. And I'm going to share my screen. The first thing that we're going to start with today is going back to the standard form of a quadratic function in standard form. And so a quadratic function in standard form is where you have ax squared plus bx plus c all on one side. Okay, and we used it in this form to find the x-intercepts. They're also called zeros because when you set the equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, that's why they're called zeros. So when we worked on this in 7.2, you might have started seeing like, oh, sometimes I get two rational solutions, sometimes I only get one solution, sometimes I get two complex solutions. And is there a way to be able to know up front what we're going to get? And there is. That is just so cool. So the in the quadratic equation, we're solving for the x-intercept. So we're solving for an x value. We have the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So this square root piece right here is the piece that decides if we're going to have an imaginary complex answer, or if we're going to have a perfect, if this comes out to be a perfect square root, or if we're going to have two rational answers, or just one rational answer. So let's look at the possibilities for this. So b squared minus 4ac is called the discriminant. And it helps us decide what our possibilities are. Okay, so the first one that we're going to have is problem number 1. X squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. Okay, and you might see right off the bat that, oh, this can be factored. And if it can be factored, you know that it's going to have two rational answers. Okay, so let's just write our A, B, and C. So A is equal to 1. Remember, everything has to be to one side. B is equal to a -6, and C is equal to 5. So b squared would be a -6 squared minus 4 times a times c. And this comes out to be 36 minus 20 is 16. So because this is positive, we're going to have two rational answers. So that's all we're looking for. Okay. Number 9 is going to be similar. So number 9 says x squared minus 9 equals 0. A equals 1. And we're missing that the x term, so b is equal to 0, but make sure you acknowledge that, and c is equal to 9, because you'll need that 0 in the discriminant. So b squared minus 4ac is 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times a negative 9. And we get a positive 36, which is greater than 0. So we have two rational answers. Okay, so in both of these, if we actually wanted to go further and solve them, this one could factor into x minus 5, x minus 6. And you can see then we would have the solution of x equal to 5 and x equal to 1. And then this one, you could either move the 9 over and take the square root of both sides, or you could factor into the two conjugates of the difference of squares. So that would be an option, but they're just asking us to find the number and kind of solutions. Okay, so we are gonna, on a separate sheet of paper, let's just write out the possibilities here for the number and the number of and kind of solutions. Okay, so we have the discriminant. Okay, so if discriminant is, okay, so we're going to say if our b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, you will have two rational solutions. Two rational, they're also called x-intercepts, where we cross the x-axis. Okay, so that's one possibility. So the second possibility is b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. We're going to have one rational x-intercept. Okay, we're going to see that next. If you go to problem number 3 in the book. Problem number 3 says 4x squared minus 4x equals a negative 1. So remember, we have to have everything to one side. So it has to be set equal to 0. 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. Now we can go ahead and look at our a, b, and c. So a is equal to 4, b is equal to a negative 4, and c is equal to 1, because they're all on one side set equal to 0. 4, negative 4, and 1. And then I'm going to fill in b squared minus 4ac. So b squared, I'm going to put that in parentheses because I need to square the negative, minus 4 times a is 4 times c is 1. So this becomes 16 minus 16 equals 0. So when that equals 0, we have one x-intercept, because that means there's no plus or minus in the quadratic equation, right? Because if this goes to 0, it's just negative b over 2a, which is super cool. Okay, let's look at number 4. Number 4 comes out to be something similar. So 9x squared plus 12x equals a negative 4. Again, we need to have everything all on one side. So 9x squared plus 12x plus 4 equals 0. So a equals 9, b equals 12, and c equals 4. So b squared minus 4ac. So b is 12 squared minus 4 times a is 9 times c is 4. So 144 minus 16 times 9 is 144. We get 0. So one x-intercept solution. when the discriminant equals 0. Okay, back to our possibilities here. So the third possibility is when b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. Okay, that means what's under the square root is less than 0. Tells us that we're going to have two complex a plus bi solutions. And let's remind ourselves that means the parabola graph never crosses the x-axis. Okay, so that's what this is telling us is going to happen. So let's look at number 5 in the book here. So number 5 in the book has x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. Okay, so everything's to one side. So we have a equals 1, b equals 1, c equals a negative 1. So b squared minus 4ac. So we have 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times a negative 1. So we have 1 is 4ac. This one comes out to be 5, so it's too rational because it's greater than 0. Let's try to find one that comes out to be less than 0. Let's look at number 6. Let's try number 6. The number 6 in the book says x squared minus 2x plus 3 equals 0. Everything's to one side, so a equals 1, b equals a negative 2, and c equals 3. So b squared minus 4ac is b is a negative 2 squared minus 4 times a is 1, c is 3. So a negative 2 squared is a positive 4. Remember, the b squared should always, no matter what, always turn out to be a positive. So 4 minus 12 is a negative 8, and that's less than 0. So you're going to have two complex solutions. When I say complex, I mean a plus bi, because you're going to have that imaginary number involved. Let's look at another way to see if we can get that one, if that one comes out too. Number 8. Number 8. So number 8 says 3y squared equals 4y minus 2. So the first thing we have to do is get everything to one side. So 3y squared. So subtracting 4y and adding 2 gets it to the other side. So subtracting 4y and adding 2, it's just the opposite sign on the other side. So now we can label a is 3, b is a negative 4, and c is a positive 2. So b squared minus 4ac equals a negative 4 squared minus 4a, and c is 2. So negative 4 squared is 16, minus 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24. And we get a negative 8, which is less than 0. And so we get two complex solutions. So this ends the first video for 7.3, and it's all about figuring out the number and kind of solutions. So looking at our discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac, and what does that simplify to? And that tells you the type and number of solutions you're going to have. So catch me back for lesson 7.3 part 2.